Miss Sandy and I, we go to Puerto Rico quite a bit. And one of the things, when we're in Puerto Rico, we hit the coffee plantations and stuff like that. And there's a place called Sandy's Coffee Plantation on top of a mountain. It's just incredible coffee. Incredible. I will have to say, to be honest, it is better than Tim Hortons, but it is about 20 times more expensive. When you get this coffee, you have to agree to drink it through a French press. You have to do a French press. Fancy schmancy. But when I was talking to the guy that was giving the tour of the coffee farm, he said one of the biggest problems that they have is finding workers. Really, in Puerto Rico, finding workers. Now, granted, you're on an island and you got a limited amount of resources, but there's a lot of poverty in Puerto Rico. So you'd think people would be lining up to go to work, right? To show up. No. He was saying that most of the Puerto Ricans and stuff get so much money from the government for not working that by the time, they factor in the taxes, all the things, going to work, getting up, doing the hassle, working in a coffee field, picking the beans and all of that stuff. It is not worth it. It's not worth it. So you have a ton of people in Puerto Rico. I won't say a ton. I think it's an unfair assessment. You have a few people in Puerto Rico that get paychecks. Now whose fault is that? If you could sit at home and get paid and have your bill. Now, granted, you're not going to have all the luxuries. I don't know, though. They pretty much do nowadays. I know you get a cell phone if you're poor. I know you get food. I know you get a roof over your head. You get all those things. What else? What else is there? Right? I mean, yeah, it's the quality of life. But then again, who that is a fantasy as well. Because what is quality of life? Man, I just thought about it. Maybe I just need to go to Puerto Rico. I could live on a few $100 if all I had to do is live on the beach in the tropics. Maybe we're doing this all wrong. I mean, but no, I mean, they still have TVs over there and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that he was saying that it's hard to get workers because for the amount that they pay, and they're actually on the higher end. I think they said they pay their pickers about $12 an hour to pick coffee, the hand pick coffee beans. But they can't find workers because the workers, by the time you factor in taxes, all of the things that the government imposes on the working person and the small employer or the small business, it is probably to your best advantage to just sit at home and get a paycheck. That's just, like I said, I'm a firm believer. Wherever the government gets involved, costs go up. I remember getting our Wayback Machine. I remember going to college and we paid $2,500 a semester, not a quarter, a semester. So for $5,000 a year, roughly, you could get an excellent education at a great university, Middle Tennessee State University. And I remember those days, right? And that is if you're taking a full load because you paid by the credit hour. But for $2,500, you could get an outstanding education. That is almost doubled, if not tripled. Now, I know the state of Tennessee is going back to where they're going to do a 2-year program. Good for them. Free of charge. Your associate's degree is free, and I think that's outstanding. But the thing is that I remember that. Now, why has tuition increased? Well, I can tell you. It's this thing called student loans. Now, a lot of people say, well, the government's not involved. Well, yes, they are. The government is involved in that because they guarantee the loans. So basically what it is because the government knows unless you die, there is nowhere in the world, for the most part, that you can go and they can't find you. So they know that they got your paycheck for the rest of your life. So they secure these loans. They go to these banks and they say, yeah, give them these loans. So now you got the universities that are sitting there going, all right, we have limited space. We're a business. We have limited space. We can only fit so many bodies into this university. And if these students, and he who has the money gets admitted first, and if these students are stupid enough and their families are stupid enough to take out these loans and to go into debt in the tune of half to $100,000, even more, it depends on the university. I know that tuition has gone up quite a bit at Middle Tennessee. But if you're willing to go out and find, basically put yourself in debt for the next 30 years, why wouldn't the university take that money, increase their rates, and say, look, if you want to go to school here, you got to take out a loan? I mean, that's how it works. Do you fault the university? No, that's his business. You're in the capitalism. You can't pick and choose. You're either a capitalist or not. I mean, the universities are playing as capitalists. They now have a segment or a group or their customers are willing to pay more for the same product that everybody else was getting at a cheaper price. And so that raises the price for everybody. That's why government involvement in anything increases the price, even inside of healthcare. Same thing with healthcare. I don't know if you guys know, but healthcare costs have gone through the roof. Part of that is because, well, everybody's got to have insurance. And the hospitals now can charge more. Now, I think what's criminal in their behavior is the fact that they will charge a self-pay. There are individuals, i.e. me, us, before we had insurance. We couldn't get insurance the first 2 years that it came out. We couldn't get insurance through the Obamacare. A lot of people were like, what? It's like, no, yeah, we couldn't do it. Because there's a minimum income level that you have to make. And Sandy and I, we had a business, and the business didn't do that well. And we didn't declare bankruptcy or anything like that. But what we did is we took all of our revenues, all of the money we made, we set money aside for 2 years, and we paid back the debts of our business that failed. And thus, when we do our tax returns at the end of the day, we didn't have an income. We didn't meet the minimum requirements. And the fact that we worked for ourselves, we didn't have a job. So we weren't allowed to have insurance for the first 2 years of Obamacare. Weren't allowed. Couldn't do it. Didn't meet the minimum business requirements, even though we were working. It's just that we moved our priorities around. Instead of, like I said, we could have taken the bankruptcy or whatever. We didn't do that. No, we paid our debts. And we did. We paid our debts, but we didn't have Obamacare. But I'll tell you, during that time, I unfortunately cut my foot. Had 5 stitches put in. 5 stitches. Go in the emergency room. Cost me over $5,000 for 5 stitches. Because I was self-pay. Where I found out there's a clinic right down the street where would have charged me $350 to do the same thing. And why did the hospital charge me $5,000? Because they could. Because they could. And, of course, they knew that we were concerned about our credit, so they weren't even willing to negotiate the price. After we paid, they gave us a discount for the cash price. That was it. But then the doctor bill came in, right? I think the hospital was pretty decent. I think that bill was $2,000, and because we paid cash, it was only like $500-600, right? So how do you go from a business? How do you go from $2,000 to $500 for the same service? How can you justify that? That just tells you how much inflation, how much increases there are in healthcare. When your doctor, go ask that. When you go to the hospital, ask them, say, if I pay you cash right now, what would this procedure cost me versus the insurance? And that tells you how inflated the costs are. And they can do that because, number one, people that care about their credit or whatever, care about paying their bills will be obligated to do that. And number two, if you have healthcare insurance, they'll just do it anywhere. They'll submit it to the healthcare. Now the healthcare company, the insurance company isn't going to pay that amount. They'll get what they can. But wherever government is involved, you always have an increase. All right. Well, the first hour is done. We're going to take another quick break here. 5-minute break. Get yourself some coffee. If you guys would like to call in, the number is 402-858-1938, 402-858-1938. Love to hear from you. You're listening to Jeff Norton. This is Morning News Radio. Join us here every weekday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or on Red State Talk Radio. Going to pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Addiction or alcohol problems? If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help, and your insurance may offer coverage.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-766-0878. 800-766-0878.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-766-0878. 800-766-0878.
Hey folks, did you know that 90% of all disease or discomfort is directly or indirectly related to an unclean colon? In fact, colon cancer is the third most common form of cancer, and the lifetime risk of developing colon cancer is about 1 out of 20 men and women. This is Scott Adams from The Scott Adams Show and owner of Red State Talk Radio. I wanted a colon cleansing mild detox that would give me more energy without caffeine, and I found it with Life Change Tea by visiting getthetea.com. This herbal tea, with its unique blend of ingredients, is formulated to detoxify and cleanse your body and is available in a super strength formula. A healthy colon is the secret to living a healthy life. That's why I have 1 cup of Life Change Tea every day to keep the doctor away. Visit getthetea.com or call 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. And tell them Scott from Red State Talk Radio sent you.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote. Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-790-4294. 800-790-4294. 800-790-4294.
You know, sometimes when you compare prices on products, you think to yourself, what difference does it make? The rates are all about the same anyway, but sometimes the rates are very different. Let me give you an example where there's a huge difference in pricing between companies. Vehicle protection plans. Look, if your car is 4 years or older, having a vehicle protection plan is a no